Today I'll be talking about my Google interview experience. While you enjoy some really nice views of the Bangalore skies, most of them are recorded while going to or coming back from the Google Bangalore office in Kyoto. A recruiter reached out to me. This was not the first time. I had given Google interviews during college too. They mentioned that they liked my profile and would like to hear more. I had a call scheduled with a panel of technical recruiters who heard about my experience and the kind of work I have done in the past. Next, they reached out to me again to schedule the tech phone screening round. This is a knockout round. A lot of people don't have this round and directly move to the on-site interviews. The reason I had the phone screen was because I didn't have much lead code or code forces or competitive programming stuff on my resume. If you do, they usually skip this round for you. After this, I took quite some time to prepare for this one. The question would be a little, I'd say, medium hard on lead code. It was a 45-minute interview with the first 10 minutes to look at the question and ask any clarifying questions, and the rest to come up with the solution and code it. I had a quick intro explaining the question. Took like around 5 to 6 minutes. I came up with the brute force in like 4 to 5 minutes, explained it, did a quick run on how it would work for the given test cases. During this, we also talked about corner cases and invalid input cases. Once he was satisfied with the brute force, he asked to optimize it. This required using a specific data structure. I suggested that, and then we went through the time and space complexity analysis of why this approach is better than the brute one. He was happy with the explanation, and we moved on to coding. By 45 minutes, the code was almost completed, just one function was remaining. The interviewer seemed satisfied. The very next day, I got a call from the recruiter saying that the screening round was cleared. She also mentioned that if required, I could also give a mock interview. I didn't take much time before the next set of interviews. The first on-site interview was a 45-minute one. It went very well in my opinion. We discussed the question. It was a medium hard problem on lead code. It was very smooth. This was a problem where you put the problem into a data structure and use it to solve the problem, going directly into the most optimal solution. Once the code was done, which took quite some time, he asked a follow-up question and I made some code changes. Lastly, he asked if I had any follow-up questions. I asked a couple and we ended the interview. The second phone screen was a day later. The question was clear. It was the kind where again you jump to the optimal solution directly because that will take quite some time and you need to use a specific data structure. I initially started with the brute force-ish solution but quickly realized the optimal one. I coded it out and the interviewer asked about a bunch of corner cases as well. It worked out well. We finished the interview with around 10 minutes left. This was a good one, though some of the corner cases I feel I should have directly identified beforehand and mentioned it before we started coding. The third interview was the hardest one. The question was of a specific type. It took quite some time for the interviewer to explain the question. Clarifying with the follow-up questions took around 20 minutes for me. When I started coding, after explaining the solution that I had thought of, 10 minutes were left. The interviewer seemed satisfied with the solution when I had coded it up and also the approach. I felt this one could have been better in terms of understanding the question and understanding it faster. 2 days later, I got a call from the recruiter saying that the on-site feedbacks were positive and they would go ahead and schedule the Googliness round. I prepared some commonly asked questions I found on this topic on YouTube, behavioral ones. The questions, when you go through, make you think about everything that you've worked on till date. The interview went pretty well. The interviewer was very friendly. I introduced myself and they asked around 6 to 8 questions on this one. and they were drilling pretty deep into each topic. A day later, my recruiter reached out again with positive news. A team fit call was scheduled on the same day. That one was mostly talking about my skills and work. It was a positive experience too. That's it. That's about my interview experience with Google. Problems that I practiced during this time were mostly from Striver's SDE sheet and his lectures on Take You Forward YouTube channel. Some topics that were specifically important were trees, graphs, dynamic programming, strings and arrays, which are the generic important topics that you practice before the essay, mostly from the Take You Forward YouTube channel. Thank you.